Hi, welcome to UTverse Unplugged. We're sure glad you're here today. This is our second broadcast. Wow, we did the first one last week and did the second one today, and learn just a little bit more about UTverse and what's going on. We're going to cover just some of the basics of UTverse today, like where different buttons are and how to upload a document, just some real basic kind of stuff, because we figured we needed to start out in a very simple fashion and just gradually each week get a little deeper and a little bit deeper into using. You like that?
Yeah.
That works for you? All right, so we're glad you're here today. So Mark is going to kind of give us an overview of UTverse. We kind of thought, like, you're the man that wrote it, so tell us what this thing is.
Well, UTverse, you can imagine it as being kind of like your personal assistant, right? Everyone's probably seen a robot show when they were growing up, and they're thinking, oh, I always wish that I could have a robot that, you know, that could be my own assistant. It could do more of the mundane tasks, you know, that I don't want to do. I know I'm waiting for that day where I could have a robot to do the dishes.
That'd be great.
Maybe even do other things around the house, but until then, we have the next best thing, and that's UTverse AI Assistant.
All right.
So instead of a physical robot, you have a robot assistant that's in a digital form, where you can access it either on your mobile app or mobile device, or your PC or your Mac.
So wait. I can get to this on my phone or my iPad?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter what you have. If you have an Android, if you have an iPhone, if you have a PC or a Mac, it's going to be compatible with it. I mean, technically, it might even be compatible with your toaster if it had a screen on it. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So it's definitely very compatible. We did our very best to make it as accessible to everyone, no matter what device that they're using, as long as it's an up-to-date browser. As long as you're using an up-to-date browser, you should be able to use it. So what is UTverse AI Assistant? Well, you can actually use it to answer a lot of your questions, or perhaps to have a conversation with artificial intelligence. You can imagine that maybe you're working on a project, but there's some mundane tasks in that project that you don't want to be doing. Perhaps it's repetitive work, right, in written form. And so if you ask your AI assistant to help you with said task, then it's probably going to be able to help you with that. A lot of programmers tend to use UTverse to assist them with their AIs, with their programming or scripting even. And then you also have people who are using it to help draft documents, because it can definitely be used as a first draft rather than you having to write out the whole draft. It could also be used for brainstorming, or it could be used to kind of finalize something that you've been writing, from the ground up. Or you can perhaps interact with the AI back and forth until you come up with the thing that you really want, to publish. And so it's very versatile, and I think that with this tool, it could really be beneficial for students, faculty, staff, pretty much everyone who wants to have a little AI companion always on their side.
I like it.
So I guess we'll take a look at the
can I show them some of the different things here? If you look at the screen right here, we got this little trailer thing going around here, so you can see where the cursor is going. And let's just start over here on the right-hand side of the screen and work our way across. So the first button you're going to see over here, if you drop it down, it'll tell you who you are. And it tells you if you're available or not, so that if people look for you online, they can see that.
And that's connected to Teams.
Oh, that is connected to Teams.
It is.
Okay, I didn't realize that. No, that's even cooler. I love that. And I like this. One of the things I like about what you did, Mark, is that there's multiple ways to do the same task in here. For instance, setting to dark mode, I can do it here, or I can also do it over on the the settings area,
Yes.
personalization.
Yes.
Mark's going to show you about that in just a minute. But anyway, and you can log out right here if you want to. And then next to that is a button here, and these are what they call AI assistants. And we're going to have a whole session on what AI assistants do and things like that. There's a button right here, the little gear. You probably know what that is. That's going to take you to the settings, right? And then there's a really great button here. It's a help button, and you're going to find a lot of super information there. I'd encourage you to just go out there, click on the help button, and do some reading there, and you'll learn a lot about UTverse and what's available. If we go all the way across the screen over here, there's a drawer over here on the left-hand side. And if I click on that drawer, it opens up, and you're going to see, just briefly, these are some of the history searches, the history of searches that I've done over the past few weeks, that kind of thing. And there's also the big orange button up here where you can click new and create a brand new chat. And we're going to talk about why you might want to create new chats in another broadcast that we're going to put out. And then there's also pinned threads over here, the universal translator. We're going to be doing a whole episode on that. That thing is just cool, y'all. And then the settings for UTverse are all right here. There's a lot of personalization you can add to the settings, which I think you're really going to like. There's some demos here in the center of the bottom half of the screen right here that you can press, and it kind of gives you an idea of some of the things that UTverse can do, you know, and how they do it. Then down here at the bottom, of course, you know what that is. That's where you're going to type in your question, or as they call it in AI world, your prompt, okay? That's where you're going to put that in there. And then there's a few other buttons down here, like the microphone. We're going to talk about that. And there's going to be a little button right here. This is the one Mark's so excited about. He worked so hard on this. And that right now, that button is just looking. When you ask it a question, it's only looking at information that the model was trained on, okay? But if we click on that little button right there, notice a little green screen comes up at the top, says you now have web access. It's now going to search the web also. So there's a lot of good information there. That is fantastic because we can go outside the university. There's an upload button here, and there's a skills button here. All these things we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks to show how things work. But one of the things I think is real important, Mark, that I think you're the best one to talk about it, is the settings area. Can you tell us a little bit about settings and what's available?
Yeah, at the top, first, the settings can be accessed in different ways, right?
Okay.
We want to make sure that they become very accessible wherever you need to change settings. So, for example, at the top right, you have your AI assistant list, correct?
Right, yeah.
And on the left, you could click on it to manage your AI assistants.
Okay.
Well, what if you want to go directly to your AI assistant and you just want to...
you got a gear setting there? Oh,
exactly.
That's great.
For another example is over where you got the prompt zone, is what we call it. You have a settings button over here for your skills. So when you click on it, you can actually toggle on and off your skills.
So if you're doing a prompt that doesn't involve mathematics, you could just turn mathematics off?
You could if you wanted to, yeah.
Okay.
And so it's just settings that are available just in many, many different locations. When you click on the hamburger menu icon, this is why we call it hamburgers, because it looks like a triple stack hamburger.
You're making me hungry, okay.
Yes.
So just so you know.
And it'll open up the drawer menu. And from here, at the very bottom, you can click on settings.
All right.
And so now this is the default settings that you'll see. Your dashboard, you got the conversation manager, which you can delete all your conversations in one click. I won't delete your conversations.
Okay. Now, conversations being all that history that we saw when we pulled the drawer out. Okay,
yes.
Gotcha.
So you just one click and you can delete them all. So instead of deleting one thread at a time, you can delete everything. Very convenient.
That's great, yeah.
Underneath, there's all of your AI assistants. So it says you've recently used 0, and we can...
yeah, I haven't played with them yet. I hadn't taken your class.
So, and then you could see all of your AI assistants organized by model, or your favorites, or what's been imported. well, what's been shared, or all of them, right? So you got many choices on how you want to search, and you can even search them by typing it in here. So.
Oh, okay.
And you can create new AI assistants or import them.
And we're going to do a whole episode
exactly.
on that, I would think, yeah.
And see how earlier we quickly access the skills menu? Well, over here you can also
There it
access
is again.
Yes. So we want to make it very accessible. Models, we have the different models that we're supporting. We'll be adding more, and we're actually going to expand on the information that's listed over here to be a little bit more transparent. So,
okay.
And so we also have the files. So all the files that you've uploaded are located over here. You can delete the files individually or all of them together.
Oh, great. And
then underneath is the update. So you can see all of the updates that we've created. So this is the latest one, and the one before. So
basically this is the history of UTverse.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
So we update practically almost every week or two, right? So this app is consistently evolving.
And that's one thing y'all need to be aware of, that some of the things we show on here today, it may be improved next week or something, because it's constantly changing. Yeah, I love that.
And underneath, there's the help section. You could navigate and get more information about certain features.
Right.
And I do want to mention that for the skill section, there's a little help icon for each skill, and if you can click on that to learn more. So for personalized, it's more on customizing settings for yourself, like the different color modes or brightness. And this is where we actually set the cursor trail over here. So you can actually change the different colors and whatnot.
I think it really does help you keep up with where the cursor is. It's sometimes they disappear. You know?
I agree. It's my favorite new feature to the app. And appearance, you can change the font to Comic Sans or console and whatnot.
Whichever one you can see the best, maybe.
Exactly. There's a lot of different options over here to change them. So here you got speech languages. So this is for speech to text. When you're speaking in one language, you want the AI to understand that you're speaking in English or you're speaking in Filipino. So you click on speech options. You'll also see you have many options here, and this is for text to speech, right? And so you have text-to-speech voices, male, female, or ignore the code blocks. If you wanted to override the language to another, if you're bilingual, if you're getting text that's mixed between English and French.
Gotcha.
You'll want it to say the French words in French, so you would override it for over here. So there's a lot of different options.
So we're going to have a whole episode on this, aren't we? That's a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. There's so many features to go through. And speech translations, when you want to translate your own speech to text into another language. So this will be more, there's some very interesting use cases for this, particularly what features are coming in the future that we'll be talking more about. And this is going to make this feature a whole, make it a lot more sense. Right?
I talked to a language professor just the other day, and she was so excited about this. She said she really thought that this was going to help her students a lot.
Yeah.
Being able to use these tools right here. So. Yeah,
well, that's very exciting to hear.
Yeah.
And here we have text translation. So this will translate what you have on screen to another language. So we could just pick any language we want. We could just pick Zulu, for example. It was a requested language, and we just added it. So if there's a language that's not listed here, shoot us an email, and we'll see if we can add it to here. And that is essentially the settings.
Wow, fantastic. So there's a lot to work in there. And we'll probably go in here and dig more into the settings and things like that.
Absolutely, yes. There's a lot to take in, and this was a very quick introduction to them. But
it is.
We wanted to make sure that everyone was familiar where to access these settings too. So
I agree. One of my favorite features, Mark, is being able to upload a document. Probably like you and so many others, I read an awful lot of PDFs. Every week it seems like there's a new one coming out. And one of the cool things I like in here, y'all, if you look down here on the prompt bar at the bottom of the page, there's a little upload button right here at the end. if I hit that upload button, then I can navigate to the area in my folder or wherever it is. I've got my document. I've got a little document here called Study Habits, and I'm just going to click on that and watch what happens. The UTverse is going to upload this document and pull it into the AI. I couldn't think of what I wanted to say there, Mark. And it's going to pull it in, it's going to analyze it, it's going to look at what's available in the information. And now you can see up here at the top of the screen, it's there. So I can just say to it, how about tell me the key points. If I can type here, y'all, points in this document. Think that'll do it, Mark? All right, so I just ask it a quick question about that document, okay? And then I'll hit the return button, and it'll take just a moment. It'll read the document, and it's gonna return to me the key points. I love this feature. Look at this, y'all. There it is right there. There's all the key points in this particular document. So it makes it really, really nice to be able to upload documents like that and work with them.
Absolutely.
So once I get this, what can I do?
Well, that is a very good question because it is a lot to digest.
Okay.
So I would say for anybody watching right now is when you create a new thread, and always go hamburger menu, new button, creates a new thread.
Right.
And from here, explore what these buttons do.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you don't want to try one of these, you could press the
I love that random button you put on there.
You press the random, and now new ones come up.
That's so cool.
And so, you know, maybe you want to try, let's say, AI translation, right? Well, we don't need to use the web, so we can uncheck the web. It'll be much faster because it doesn't.
Okay, so it speeds it up a little bit.
It speeds it up.
All right.
And then you just press the send button, or press enter, whichever you prefer.
Okay, so enter or send will do the same thing. All right.
And now it's doing a translation on the question that I had. Now, here's the fun part about this. And so over here, you notice that there's Klingon and then there's Elvish in here because that was part of the question over here. So do your best attempt at Klingon, Elvish, and then I you know. And so now it did its best at translating it over here. Is it accurate? Maybe.
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 I'll never know.
I won't be able to tell you this. But it's based off of this training data because it gets a lot of its training data from, you know, even SourceWorks from like Lord of the Rings, right? And so maybe Star Trek for Klingon. So and so it will be able to kind of make its own translator based off fictional works, which is pretty funny.
I love it.
So it kind of helps you think about how do I prompt correctly?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It kind of trains you on how to do prompting.
Exactly. It trains you how to do prompting, and it also helps you kind of learn outside how to prompt outside the box because now we're not thinking just translating to English or Spanish or Japanese.
Right.
Now it's use a fictitious language, right?
Yeah. I like it.
And so I would explore all of these and see how it works.
I think that's great.
You got haikus, Frankenstein AIN, what is UTverse. Now notice that if I click on what is UTverse, it says I enabled web search for you.
So it's not only looking internally, it's looking on the web.
Yes, and so it automatically enables any skill that it may be needing to perform its actions. So
gotcha.
Now that we had the
green globe is turned on, so we can see that.
And so now we can press the search button or the send button, and then it's going to go online. It's going to find all of these sources, and it's going to determine its own, you know, how to search and whatnot. And then it's going to come back and then go back to the internet and go and find all of these websites and do a deep scan onto all of them.
Wow.
And so this is what it was able to return. And this is available on our website.
And I love the references down there.
And so when you want to actually learn more about them, you can click on the references themselves. And there's these little numbers over here. You could click on them,
Right.
and it'll go straight to that reference, or
great.
you can click on it on this button over here that returns you back to where you were reading.
Yeah.
So it's a very convenient, kind of almost like a secret tool, right?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. Y'all, we've got so much to cover. There is just an enormous amount of information. I hope you're going to keep coming back. I hope this has been enjoyable to you. And tune in the next session. And I think the next one we're going to take a deep dive into the translator that's in there. And that one's going to be really interesting. I think you're going to like that a whole lot. So tell your friends about us. And remember, as always, you can find us at tiny.utk.edu, UTV. And you can find all our recordings plus a lot of other information about UTverse and AI there on that side. Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye.